What's up, people? Just part two of my stage five plurals videos here and explanations. The second set of slides is plurals of nouns, but I do start the first slide of these the same way I started the last one. Singular means one, plural means more than one, and again, subjects must agree, singular with singular, plural with plural. So we talked about the verb side of things, that really this stage, the new thing we learn is that NT as a verb ending means they, more than one person, are the ones doing the action. Now we're going to see the noun side of it, the people doing the action. How do we take that from one person to more than one? I just find it interesting that for 4 stages and how many months we've been only seeing one person doing something at a time. I, you, Caecilius, Metella, et al. But plurals of nouns now. So most English nouns form their plurals by adding s. I think we know that. Books means there's more than one book. Cars means there's more than one car. But in English, some of them are irregular too, and this is just where they come from. In goose, you don't say gooses, you say geese. In English, mouse becomes not mouses, but mice. Moose stays moose. All right, so you're not going to say mooses. Ox becomes oxen. That's a borrowing from German, just like child changes to children. So I think what I want to illustrate with this slide is that there's kind of like a really common way to do it in English, but there are multiple ways you can do it, like die and dice, and oxen. There are a variety of different endings that even English uses to pluralize things, and Latin does this via declensions. And so we're going to go through each declension and how each of those groups or families of nouns will change from singular to plural. So the first declension, we know those as the nouns that have a as their regular form, like agricola, all right, regular old nominative singular form ends in a, but the nominative plural form will have ae. So for example, we have one agricola is the farmer, multiple agricolae are the farmers. We have one fabula is the story or play, fabulae, more than one would be the stories or the plays. Then we have puella is one girl. Puellae would be more than one, the girls. And turba is the crowd, just one crowd. Turbi, ae, is more than one crowd, the crowds. So simple enough when you change from a to ae, nominative singular to nominative plural. All right, it makes it it makes it plural in the first declension. So just like a to am, change from nominative to accusative, a to ae changes from nominative singular to nominative plural. The second declension group family of nouns typically change from us, but there are a couple of examples in the second declension that we'll see that have an er to I, like dominus and puer. So for example, we have one dominus is the master, multiple domini would be the master's. Puer, this is a kind of a weird one because, certain words that end in er, like mater and pater, are actually third declension, but puer is in the second. So puer is one boy, pueri would be more than one, the boys. Servus is one slave, servi would be more than one, the slaves. And coquus is one cook, coqui is more than one cook, the cooks, for example. And finally, third declension group family of nouns, all right? Notice that it changes from a bunch of random endings that I'm going to show you here. I'll take a form from each of those, a different nominative singular form, but all of their nominative plurals will change to es. So it's convenient that the accusative singular change all to em and the nominative plural change to es. So the first one is uinus, all right? Sometimes is is a nominative singular ending, like nawis is the ship. Uinus is the young man or the young person. Uines, es, more than one young man, or the young men, or the young people. Senex, sometimes you see x, like senex, or even sifax, his name. A eudex is a judge, but they'll all change to es. So one senex, multiple senes, or old men. Actor, a lot of ORs we've seen already. Tonsor was a barber. We've seen mercator as a merchant. Actor is exactly that, is one actor. Actores would be the actors, more than one. And finally, another X, I guess I'm doing multiple X's. Mendax is one liar. Mendaces is more than one liar. Even notice how the X kind of changed to a C. You don't really need to know that. What I'm focusing on is this means lie, and this means liar. This means more than one. So put all together kind of what we've seen so far. Understanding this chart is really about knowing what the notations mean. We have first declension, second declension, third declension. Those are those groups or families. So this whole group of nouns will change its endings like this. This whole group of nouns will change its endings like this, and this whole group of nouns will change its endings like this. That's what the idea of declension is. And then we need to know the other headings. Case is nominative or accusative. Every declension has nominative and accusative, and nominative and accusative still means subject and direct object, doing and receiving the action. The action is being done by, and the action is being done to that particular noun. And then singular and plural is one and more than one, like we saw at the top of each of these sets of slides and videos. So just to pick out a few of the endings here, I just want to show you how these endings kind of function and how these charts, which might help more than a couple people, are used. So if you see a form like femini, okay, the only AE that you see up here is nominative and plural in the first declension. What this means is femini, all right, the word for woman is plural, so there's more than one. It's the women. Nominative means the women are the subject or doing the action. Picking out another one, US, all right, is nominative and singular. So when you see servus, it's the slave, nominative, doing the action, singular, just one slave, and that belongs to the second declension. And in the third declension, if you were to see EM, for example, it's accusative and singular. Even though we haven't seen it since stage 2, accusative is still receiving the action, and singular means one. So when you see mercatorum, it's one merchant receiving the action because of the EM ending.